Hi, my name is Brian. I'm one of the pastors here at Green Lane Christian Center. Welcome to the first of our cell team discussions around the themes and focus of our Eastergram series as we prepare for Easter during the season of Lent. This week we have looked at the topic of redemption through the eyes of Jubilee. So I want us to start with a little experiment. Start a sentence with the words, I believe, and then finish that sentence with something you really have a heartfelt belief about. It's actually impossible to make I believe statements without having some sense of uplifting and joy at the end of that, or maybe some doubt. It is an inherent part of being human to make declarations of belief, what we believe in, who we are, why we live the way we live. But at times we can say things that we go, do I really, really believe that? Just last year, my daughter came and sat next to me and put her hand on my knee and kind of looked at me. We're going through a tough time, and she said, you know, Dad, it's going to be okay. God's looking out for us. See, in my job, it's easy for me to make statements of belief as a pastor. Sometimes I really believe it. Sometimes I say something because I think I should believe it. Often I find myself making statements, and I'm amazed at people that come to me after a sermon or a discussion, and they're just so thankful that I said that thing out loud. And I'll be honest, I walk away and I wonder, do I really believe that? Or do I think I'm supposed to believe that? And I think that's the question that this idea of Jubilee raises for us this week. What do we really believe? And what are some of the things we think we're supposed to believe? I think we can rattle off words sometimes and just think we really believe them, but faith is more than that. And some of the things we looked at in the sermon this week drive home, do we live in such a way that believes that we are released from the heaviness of life through Jubilee, or do we carry it anyway, even though we know we're supposed to trust God with that? John Ortberg writes a statement about faith, and he says, at its core, faith is not simply a belief in a statement. It's about putting trust in a person. We all think we want certainty, he writes, but we don't. What we really want is trust, wisely placed. See, trust is better than certainty because it gives us freedom to live, freedom to explore, freedom to innovate and change and transform and grow. But there can be no intimacy in any relationship without trust. And I think the disciples went through that. They would hear these things that Jesus would say, that the time of our Lord is now. And they would go, I like this guy. I like Jesus. I like what he's saying. And then as they would do what he says, they would kind of be able to test, is what he's saying true? And they would find out it works. This is real. When it's put in action, this comes to being. And I think that's where we're at. They kind of learned to have a faith in Jesus first. And then as they lived the way he asked them to live, they began to form a faith like Jesus. And I think that's what Jubilee does. We're being asked to believe that God can free us from pain, free us from slavery, from bondage, from hurt. But until we act on that, I don't know if our trust can be like that. And that's what our discussion is about today. What I want to ask you to do in your groups is to discuss these questions about, yes, we believe in Jesus for eternity, and we make those statements, but until we live it on a daily basis, I think it's unfair to say it. It's unfair to say and force people to believe in Jesus for eternity just to get them into heaven. I think our job is to help them trust Jesus daily. And as they learn to trust him daily, you and me the same way, then we can believe Jesus for eternity. So in your discussions today, you're going to talk about how does Jubilee play out on a day-to-day basis? How do we trust him to release us from issues of slavery and bondage and pain and hurt on a regular basis? And then from there, know that he's going to look after us the way my daughter says, and everything will be okay. So have a great discussion. We're praying for you here at the church. Thank you so much for the time you spend loving each other, loving God, and loving your neighbors. God bless you, and we'll talk to you next week.